Jake Miller sat in the dark corner of Murphy's bar on Kepler Station. The place smelled like cheap alcohol and engine oil. Smoke from alien cigarettes made the air thick and hard to breathe. Jake did not mind. He had been in worse places while hunting criminals across the galaxy. His tablet beeped with a new message. Jake looked at the screen and saw a job offer that made him sit up straight. The payment was huge, more money than he made in a whole year, but the target made his blood run cold. Vexthul the Harvester, the most deadly killer in known space. Jake had heard stories about this alien assassin. Vexthul came from a race called the Kethmori. They were born fighters with silver eyes that could see in complete darkness. Their muscles were 3 times stronger than humans. Their reflexes were so fast they could catch bullets with their bare hands. But Vexthul was different from other Kethmori. He was smart. He could speak 20 languages. He could disguise himself to look like almost any race in the galaxy. In 200 years of killing, he had never failed a job. Never. The message said Vexthul was coming to Kepler Station. Someone had paid him to kill a human scientist. Jake did not know who or why. He just knew he had to stop the galaxy's most dangerous killer before innocent people died. Jake finished his drink and walked through the station's busy halls. Kepler Station was built inside a huge asteroid on the edge of civilized space. Traders came here to buy and sell things they could not get in the core worlds. Pirates used it as a safe place to hide. The station's security was weak and did not ask too many questions. Perfect hunting ground for an assassin. The station had 5 levels. The top level was for rich passengers and expensive shops. The middle levels had hotels, restaurants, and offices. The bottom levels were full of warehouses, repair shops, and places where criminals liked to hide. Jake started his search on the bottom level. He talked to information dealers who sold secrets for money. Most of them were scared to even say Vexthul's name out loud. One old Vraxian trader with 4 arms finally gave Jake some useful information. Vexthul arrived 3 days ago, the trader whispered. His big yellow eyes kept looking around to make sure no one was listening. He came on a cargo ship from the Outer Rim, but he is not here anymore. What do you mean? Jake asked. He changed. His face, his body. Maybe he looks human now, maybe he looks like me, nobody knows. That is how he stays alive for so long. Jake left the trader and walked through the station's corridors. He studied every face he passed. Any one of these beings could be Vexthul in disguise. The maintenance worker fixing a broken light, the food vendor selling alien fruits, the security guard checking identification papers. Meanwhile, 3 levels up, Dr. Lisa Carter was having the best day of her life. She had just arrived on Kepler Station with her research equipment. Lisa was a xenobiologist, a scientist who studied alien plants and animals. She was only 26 years old but already famous for her work on terraforming. Lisa had discovered new bacteria that could change dead planets into places where humans could live. Her research could help billions of people find new homes among the stars. But some powerful companies did not want her to succeed. They made money selling expensive life support systems and terraforming equipment. Lisa's bacteria would make their products worthless. Lisa did not think about business or money. She only cared about science and helping people. She set up her laboratory in a small room on the 3rd level. The station's administrator had given her the space for free because he hoped her research might help improve life on Kepler Station. She opened her sample containers and began studying rare plants from 12 different worlds. Each plant might hold secrets that could help humans survive in space. Lisa worked with careful hands and a happy heart. This was what she lived for. She did not know that death was already watching her. Vexthul stood in the hallway outside Lisa's laboratory. He looked like a human maintenance worker now. His real Kethmori features were hidden under synthetic skin and false hair. Only his eyes stayed the same, bright silver like liquid mercury. He wore dark glasses to hide them. For 3 days, Vexthul had studied his target. He learned her daily routine. He knew she worked late into the night. He knew she ate the same meal every day from the station's cafeteria. He knew she was kind to everyone she met, even cleaning robots. Vexthul did not understand kindness. Liu. Kethamori were raised to be warriors and killers. They believed that only the strong deserved to live. Weakness was shameful. Mercy was foolish. But watching Lisa made him feel strange. She worked to create life while he worked to destroy it. She smiled at strangers while he planned their deaths. She seemed to glow with some inner light that Vexthul had never seen before. The alien assassin shook his head and pushed away these strange thoughts. He had a job to do. Someone had paid him 5 million credits to kill Dr. Lisa Carter. The client wanted her research destroyed and her death to look like an accident. Vexthul was already planning how to do it. The station's life support systems were old and broke down often. A small gas leak in Lisa's laboratory would kill her quickly and quietly. Everyone would think it was just bad luck. He walked past her laboratory door one more time. Through the small window, he could see Lisa working with her plants. She was talking to them softly, as if they could hear her. Her face showed pure joy and wonder at the mysteries of life. For just a moment, Vexthul stopped walking. Something deep inside him stirred, a feeling he had no name for. Then he remembered who he was and what he did. The galaxy's most dangerous killer did not have feelings. He had targets, and Dr. Lisa Carter would be dead before the week was over. Lisa woke up early the next morning, excited to continue her work. She had made an important discovery the night before. One of the plant samples from Zerion Prime showed signs of producing oxygen in ways she had never seen. If she could understand how it worked, she might be able to create better terraforming bacteria. She walked through the quiet station corridors to her laboratory. Most people were still sleeping. Only maintenance workers and security guards were awake at this hour. Lisa liked working when the station was peaceful. It helped her think clearly. She opened her laboratory door and started preparing her equipment. Today she wanted to test how the Zerion plant responded to different gases. She set up a sealed chamber where she could control the air mixture. This kind of experiment could be dangerous if something went wrong, but Lisa was always very careful. Down on the first level, Jake Miller was having coffee with Captain Ben Torres, the station's head of security. Ben was a good man, but his small security team could not handle a threat like Vexthul. Jake needed Ben's help to search the station properly. "Are you sure about this?" Ben asked. He was a big man with gray hair and worried eyes. "The Harvester? Here on my station?" "I am sure," Jake said. "Someone hired him to kill Dr. Lisa Carter. We need to protect her." Ben shook his head. "That sweet girl who studies plants? Who would want to hurt her?" "Someone who does not like her research," Jake replied. "Her terraforming work threatens powerful people. They would rather see her dead than lose money." "What do you need from me?" Ben asked. "Help me search for anything unusual. Check all the new arrivals from the past week. Look for maintenance requests near Dr. Carter's laboratory. And put extra security around her, but do it quietly. If Vexthul knows we are hunting him, he will disappear." Ben nodded and called his security team on his radio. Jake finished his coffee and went back to hunting. In her laboratory, Lisa was getting ready for her experiment. She put on protective gear and checked all her equipment twice. Safety was very important when working with unknown alien chemicals. She placed the Zerion plant sample inside the sealed chamber and began adding different gases. First nitrogen, then carbon dioxide, then a mixture of trace gases found on dead worlds. The plant seemed to respond to each change by glowing softly with blue light. Lisa watched with fascination. This plant was like nothing she had ever seen. It seemed to be creating complex chemical reactions that could change poisonous air into breathable atmosphere. If she could copy this process, she could help terraform dead planets much faster than anyone thought possible. She was so focused on her work that she did not notice the small device attached to the laboratory's air recycling system. Vexthul had placed it there during the night shift. It looked like a normal maintenance sensor, but it was really a gas dispenser. When activated, it would fill the room with deadly toxins. Vexthul watched from the hallway through the laboratory's window. His finger was on the remote control that would trigger the device. One press and his target would be dead in minutes. The death would look like an accident, a malfunction of old equipment. But something made him wait. Lisa was talking to her. Plant samples again, telling them about her hopes for the future. She spoke about families who could live on new worlds because of her research. Children who would breathe clean air and play in fields of earth plants grown on alien soil. Vexthul had killed many people in his long life. Scientists, soldiers, politicians, criminals. None of them had ever spoken about helping others. They talked about money, power, revenge. But this human woman only wanted to give life to dead worlds. He tried to push these thoughts away. A job was a job. His client had paid good money for Lisa's death. The Kethmori Code demanded that he complete his contract. But his finger would not press the button. Inside the laboratory, Lisa made a mistake. She added too much of one gas to the mixture. The plant sample began to glow brighter and brighter. Something was wrong. The sealed chamber cracked. Poisonous gas from the experiment began leaking into the room. Lisa's protective mask could not filter these alien toxins. She tried to reach the emergency alarm, but the gas was already making her weak and dizzy. She fell to the floor, gasping for air. The laboratory's safety systems should have activated automatically, but they were old and slow. Lisa would be dead before help arrived. Vexthul saw her collapse through the window. This was perfect. His target would die from her own experiment. He would not even need to use his gas dispenser. The job would be complete and no one could blame him. But instead of walking away, Vexthul found himself running toward the laboratory door. His Kethmori instinct screamed at him to stop. This made no sense. Why would he risk his mission to save his target? He could not answer that question. He only knew that he could not watch this bright, kind human die while he did nothing. Vexthul broke down the laboratory door with his enhanced strength. The poisonous gas immediately hit his lungs, but Kethmori biology was different from human. He could hold his breath for 20 minutes and filter toxins through special organs in his chest. He found Lisa unconscious on the floor. Her lips were turning blue from lack of oxygen. Vexthul picked her up in his arms and carried her out of the contaminated laboratory. His disguise began to fail under stress. His synthetic skin started to peel away, showing his real alien features. Underneath, he carried Lisa to the medical bay and set her on a treatment table. The station's automated medical system began scanning her vital signs and providing oxygen. Slowly, Lisa's breathing returned to normal. Vexthul stepped back into the shadows and tried to repair his disguise. He had managed to hide his true face before anyone else arrived, but his silver eyes were harder to disguise. When Lisa woke up, she would see them. Lisa's eyes opened slowly. She felt dizzy and confused. The last thing she remembered was working with the Xerion plant sample. Now she was in the medical bay with a man she did not recognize standing nearby. "Are you okay?" the man asked. His voice was deeper than most humans, with a strange accent she could not place. "I think so," Lisa said softly. "What happened? Who are you?" "There was an accident in your laboratory, toxic gas leak. I was doing maintenance nearby and heard the alarm." Vexthul had prepared this lie, but saying it made him feel sick. Lisa looked at her rescuer carefully. He was tall and strong, wearing maintenance worker clothes. But there was something different about him. His movements were too graceful, too quick, and his eyes. "Your eyes are beautiful," Lisa said suddenly. "I have never seen silver eyes like that before. They are like starlight." Vexthul froze. In 200 years of life, no one had ever called any part of him beautiful. The Kethmori were feared across the galaxy. Other races saw them as monsters, demons, killers from nightmares. But this human woman looked at his alien eyes and saw beauty. Something broke inside him. Something that had been hard and cold for centuries suddenly cracked open. Vexthul felt a pain in his chest that had nothing to do with the toxic gas he had breathed. "I have to go," he said quickly. He turned and walked away before Lisa could see the confusion on his face. Lisa watched him leave with curiosity. There had been something strange about her rescuer, something she could not explain. But he had saved her life, and for that she was grateful. She did not know that the galaxy's most dangerous killer was walking through the station's corridors, questioning everything he had ever believed about himself. Vexithal's mind was in chaos. He had a contract to complete, a target to eliminate. But how could he kill someone who saw starlight in his eyes? Vexithal returned to his small room in the station's worker quarters. His hands were shaking as he removed his disguise. The synthetic skin came off in pieces, revealing his true Kethmori features underneath. His real skin was pale gray with silver patterns that looked like ancient scars. His face was angular and sharp, built for hunting and killing. He looked at himself in the mirror and tried to see what Lisa had seen. Beautiful? His eyes were weapons designed to track prey in darkness. His face was a predator's mask that had frightened countless victims. How could anyone see beauty in a creature built for death? Vexithal activated his communication device and contacted his handler, a shadowy figure he knew only as the broker. The encrypted signal would take several minutes to reach the outer rim where the broker operated. "Report," came the cold voice, through static. "Target located. Elimination delayed due to technical difficulties." Vexithal lied. He had never lied to a client before. "What difficulties? Your record shows perfect completion rates." Vexithal struggled to find words. How could he explain that a simple compliment had destroyed his ability to kill? That 3 words from a human woman had shaken the foundation of his existence? Station security is higher than expected. Need more time to avoid detection. Time is money, Harvester. The client is paying for quick results. Complete the contract within 48 hours or we find someone else. The signal ended. Vexithal stared at the blank screen. In 48 hours, he would either kill Dr. Lisa Carter or lose the biggest contract of his career. Worse, other assassins would come. For her, less skilled killers who might hurt innocent people while trying to reach their target. Meanwhile, Jake Miller was making progress in his investigation. Captain Ben Torres had given him access to the station's security records. Jake studied video, footage from the past week, looking for anyone suspicious. Most of the new arrivals were typical for Kepler Station. Traders, miners, travelers looking for cheap passage to other systems. But one person caught Jake's attention. A maintenance worker who had appeared on camera only a few times. The man kept his head down and avoided security checkpoints. His work orders were all signed by supervisors who claimed they had never hired him. "Ghost worker," Jake muttered. It was a classic assassin technique. Create false work orders, blend in with the maintenance staff, gain access to restricted areas. This had to be Vexithal. Jake studied the few clear images they had of the fake maintenance worker. Something about the man's posture and movements seemed wrong. He moved too smoothly, too carefully, like a predator pretending to be prey. "Ben, I need you to check something," Jake called to the security captain. "This worker here, see if any of your maintenance requests came from areas near Dr. Carter's laboratory." Ben ran the search on his computer. 3 requests in the past 2 days. All for routine checks on life support systems. All signed by Supervisor Walsh. "Call Walsh." Ben made the call and his face went pale. "Walsh says he never authorized those work orders. He has been off station visiting his sick mother for a week." Jake felt his blood run cold. The assassin had been inside Lisa's laboratory. He could have killed her at any time. Why was she still alive? "We need to find Dr. Carter right now," Jake said. Lisa was in the station's cafeteria, eating lunch and thinking about her mysterious rescuer. She had returned to her laboratory after the medical check, but the room was still being cleaned of toxic gas. She would have to wait until tomorrow to continue her research. She could not stop thinking about the maintenance worker with silver eyes. There had been something special about him, something that made her heart beat faster. Lisa had always been too focused on her work to think much about relationships, but this man was different. "Excuse me, are you Dr. Carter?" Lisa looked up to see a tough-looking man in bounty hunter gear standing next to her table. Behind him was Captain Torres, the station's security chief. "Yes, I am Lisa Carter. Is something wrong?" Jake sat down across from her. "Dr. Carter, my name is Jake Miller. I'm a bounty hunter. There is a contract on your life. Someone has hired an assassin to kill you." Lisa's fork dropped onto her plate. "What? That is impossible. I am just a scientist. I do not have any enemies." Your terraforming research threatens some very powerful people, Jake explained. Companies that make billions selling life support equipment do not want you to succeed. They would rather see you dead than lose their profits. But who would hire a killer? This is insane. The killer is here on this station. His name is Vexthul. He is the most dangerous assassin in the galaxy. He has never failed a contract. Lisa felt the blood drain from her face. If he is so dangerous, why am I still alive? Jake had been wondering the same thing. I do not know. Maybe he is still planning his attack. Maybe something went wrong. Either way, we need to keep you safe until I can find him. Captain Torres leaned forward. Dr. Carter, we are going to move you to a secure location. My security team will guard you around the clock. Wait, Lisa said. What does this assassin look like? Jake showed her the security footage on his tablet. He has been disguised as a maintenance worker. We do not have clear images of his real face, but he is probably tall and strong. The Kethmori are bigger than humans. Lisa studied the blurry images. Something about the man's posture seemed familiar, but she could not be sure. The Kethmori, what do they look like? Like demons from nightmares, Jake said. Gray skin, silver eyes, faces built for killing. They are born predators. This one has been murdering people for over 200 years. Silver eyes. Lisa's heart began to race. The maintenance worker who had saved her life had silver eyes. Beautiful silver eyes like starlight. No, she whispered. It cannot be. What cannot be? Jake asked. Lisa's mind was spinning. The man who had rescued her from the gas leak, could he really be a killer? But that made no sense. If he was there to murder her, why had he saved her life instead? Dr. Carter, what are you thinking? Captain Torres asked. Lisa looked at both men and made a decision that would change everything. I think I have met him. Jake leaned forward quickly. Where? When? Yesterday, when my laboratory had the gas leak. A maintenance worker saved my life. He had silver eyes. Jake and Ben stared at each other in shock. The galaxy's most dangerous assassin had saved his target's life? That was impossible. Are you certain about his eyes? Jake asked. Yes. I told him they were beautiful like starlight. He seemed very surprised when I said that. Jake's brain was working fast. An assassin who saved his target instead of killing her. A killer who was surprised by a compliment. Something very strange was happening here. Dr. Carter, where did this man go after he rescued you? I do not know. He left very quickly. He seemed confused about something. Jake stood up from the table. Ben, we need to find this maintenance worker. Check all the worker quarters. Look for anyone who does not belong. What about Dr. Carter? Ben asked. Keep her safe. Lock down her quarters and post guards. If Vexthul saved her life once, maybe he will not try to kill her. But we cannot take that chance. As the two men hurried away, Lisa sat alone with her thoughts. The man with silver eyes, Vexthul the Harvester, was supposed to be a monster. But when she looked into those beautiful silver eyes, she had seen something else. Pain, loneliness, and a deep sadness that touched her heart. Somewhere else on the station, Vexthul was preparing his equipment. He had made his decision. The contract would be completed tonight. Dr. Lisa Carter would die quickly and painlessly, and he would collect his payment and leave this place forever. But first he would have to kill the part of himself that had started to care about her, the part that had never been called beautiful before. Night came to Kepler Station like a slow wave of darkness. The busy corridors grew quiet as most people went to sleep. Only security guards and night shift workers moved through the halls now. Perfect hunting time for a predator. Jake Miller crept through the lower maintenance levels with his weapon ready. He had been searching for hours but found no trace of Vexthul. The alien assassin was like a ghost. There one moment, gone the next. Captain Torres had posted guards around Lisa's quarters on the 3rd level. She was safe for now, but Jake knew that would not stop someone like the Harvester. Vexthul had killed targets inside heavily guarded palaces and military bases. A few station security guards would not slow him down. Jake checked his scanner one more time. The device could detect alien life signs that were different from humans. If Vexthul was nearby, the scanner would find him. But the readings showed only human workers and a few harmless alien species. "Where are you hiding?" Jake whispered to the empty corridor. 3 levels up, Lisa sat on her bed staring out the small window of her quarters. 2 security guards stood outside her door, but she did not feel safe. She felt like a prisoner waiting for execution. She could not stop thinking about the silver-eyed man who had saved her. Jake Miller said he was a monster, a killer who had murdered hundreds of people. But Lisa remembered the gentleness in his voice when he asked if she was okay. She remembered how carefully he had carried her to the medical bay. Could someone who was truly evil show such kindness? Lisa made a decision that terrified her. She walked to her door and spoke to the guards outside. "I need some fresh air," she said. "Can we go to the observation deck?" "Dr. Carter, you should stay in your quarters where it is safe," one guard replied. "Please. I have been locked up here for hours, just a few minutes in the main corridor. You can watch me the whole time." The guards looked at each other and nodded. They were good men but not trained for this kind of threat. They thought keeping Lisa in sight would be enough to protect her. They walked with Lisa toward the observation deck, where large windows showed the stars outside the station. Lisa hoped that somehow her rescuer would see her there. She wanted to talk to him, to understand why he had saved her life. She did not know that Vexthul was already watching. The assassin had been following Lisa's movements through the station's security cameras. He had hacked into the system hours ago using skills learned over 2 centuries of hunting. He could see every corridor, every room, every hiding place. When he saw Lisa leave her quarters with only 2 guards, Vexthul knew this was his chance. He could kill the guards quickly and silently, then complete his contract. No one would even know he had been there until it was too late. Vexthul moved through the maintenance tunnels like liquid shadow. His enhanced Kethmori body made no sound as he climbed through air ducts and service corridors. He reached the observation deck before Lisa and her guards arrived. The assassin hid behind a support pillar and watched Lisa approach the large windows. She looked small and fragile compared to the vast darkness of space beyond. It would be so easy to end her life. One quick strike and she would feel no pain. But when Lisa spoke, her words stopped Vexthul cold. "I know you are here," she said, softly to the empty deck. "I can feel you watching me. You saved my life yesterday." "Why?" The guards looked around nervously. "Dr. Carter, who are you talking to? The man with silver eyes? The one you call Vexthul?" Lisa stepped closer to the window. "I do not believe you are a monster. Monsters do not save the people they are supposed to kill." Vexthul felt his chest tighten. How could she know he was there? How could she see good in someone who had spent centuries being evil? "Dr. Carter, we should go back to your quarters," one guard said. "This place is not safe." "Nowhere is safe from him," Lisa replied. "But I do not think he wants to hurt me anymore." That was when Jake Miller appeared at the other end of the observation deck. His scanner had finally detected Kethmori life signs in this area. He saw Lisa standing by the windows with her guards, but his scanner showed another presence nearby. "Lisa, get away from there," Jake shouted. He raised his weapon and started scanning the shadows. The guards drew their guns and formed a protective circle around Lisa. But they were looking in the wrong direction. Vexthul emerged from behind the support pillar like a nightmare come to life. His disguise was gone now, showing his true alien form. His gray skin seemed to absorb light, making him look like a living shadow. His silver eyes blazed with predatory fire. "Nobody move," Jake commanded. He kept his weapon trained on Vexthul. "Dr. Carter, step away from him slowly." But Lisa did not move away. Instead, she turned to face the assassin who had come to kill her. She looked at his sharp, angular face and saw the same pain she had glimpsed in his silver eyes before. "You do not have to do this," Lisa said to Vexthul. "Whatever they are paying you, it is not worth losing your soul." Vexthul stared at her in amazement. Here he was in his true form, the shape that had terrified countless victims, and she was trying to save him instead of running away. "You do not understand," Vexthul said in his real voice, deep and musical like distant thunder. I am a killer. It is all I know how to be. That is not true. Lisa stepped closer to him, ignoring Jake's warnings. Yesterday you chose to be a rescuer instead of a killer. You can make that choice again. Jake saw his chance and fired at Vexthul. The energy blast should have killed the assassin instantly, but Vexthul's reflexes were too fast. He rolled to the side and the blast hit the wall behind him. The station's alarm systems activated. Emergency lights flashed red and warning sirens filled the air. Captain Torres's voice came over the speakers. Security breach on Deck 3. All personnel evacuate immediately. Vexthul could have escaped easily in the confusion. He could have vanished into the maintenance tunnels and tried to kill Lisa another time. Instead, he found himself moving to protect her as security guards rushed onto the observation deck. Jake fired again, but this time Vexthul was ready. The assassin moved faster than human eyes could follow. He disarmed 2 guards and knocked out a third before anyone could react, but he was careful not to kill them, something that shocked Jake to his core. Stand down, Jake yelled. You are surrounded. More security guards poured onto the deck. Vexthul was outnumbered 20-1, but that had never stopped him before. He could kill them all and complete his mission, but then he heard Lisa's voice cutting through the chaos. Stop. Everyone stop fighting. The guards hesitated, unsure what to do. Jake kept his weapon aimed at Vexthul, but did not fire. Lisa walked between the 2 groups of armed men like she was crossing a peaceful garden. She looked at Jake and his security team, then turned to face Vexthul. I am the one you came for, she said to the assassin. If you really want to kill me, here I am, but I do not think you do. I think you are tired of being what others made you. I think you want to be something better. Vexthul looked at this brave human woman who refused to fear him. No one had ever offered him a choice before. From the day he was born, the Kethemori had trained him to be a weapon. His clients told him who to kill and when. He had never decided for himself what kind of person he wanted to be. Why? Vexthul asked. Why do you see good in me when everyone else sees only evil? Lisa smiled, and it was like sunrise after the longest night. Because I see your eyes. They are beautiful like starlight, and starlight guides travelers home. For the second time in his life, someone had called Vexthul beautiful, but this time he finally understood what it meant. She saw past the weapon he had been made into. She saw the person he could choose to become. The galaxy's most dangerous killer fell to his knees and began to cry. 200 years of pain and loneliness poured out of him like water from a broken dam. I do not know how to be anything else, he whispered. Lisa knelt beside him and gently touched his hand. Then let me teach you. Jake Miller could not believe what he was seeing. The most feared assassin in the galaxy was crying like a lost child. Lisa Carter, the gentle scientist, was comforting him like he was someone she cared about. This was not how bounty hunting was supposed to work. Dr. Carter, get away from him, Jake said, but his voice was softer now. He is still dangerous. No, Lisa replied, without taking her eyes off Vexthul. He is just alone and scared. Look at him, really look. This is not a monster. This is someone who has never been shown kindness. Captain Torres arrived with more security guards. He saw the situation and kept his men back. Something important was happening here, and he was smart enough not to interfere. Vexthul slowly raised his head and looked at Lisa. His silver eyes were wet with tears. You do not know what I have done. How many lives I have taken. How much pain I have caused. I know you saved my life when you could have taken it, Lisa said gently. I know you are crying because you do not want to hurt me. That tells me everything. I need to know about who you really are. Jake lowered his weapon. He was still ready to fight if needed, but something in Lisa's voice made him want to listen. Vexthul, Lisa continued. What if I told you there was a way to save lives instead of taking them? What if your strength and skills could be used to help people? The assassin looked confused. I do not understand. Lisa smiled and helped him. Stand up. My research, the terraforming bacteria, it could help your people. The Keth Mori homeworld is dying, is it not? The wars destroyed most of the environment. Vexthul nodded slowly. My planet has been poisoned for centuries. That is why my people became mercenaries and killers. We had to leave our world to survive. What if we could bring it back to life, Lisa asked. What if instead of ending lives you could help create new ones? For a moment, Vexthul dared to imagine it. His dead homeworld covered in green plants again. Keth Mori children playing in clean air instead of learning to fight. His people choosing to build instead of destroy. That is impossible, he said finally. The damage is too great, and I am still a killer. Someone will always want to hire me for that. Jake stepped forward. Not if you are dead. Everyone turned to look at the bounty hunter. Jake had a strange expression on his face, like he was working out a complicated puzzle. What do you mean? Lisa asked. Vexthul the Harvester dies here tonight, Jake said. Killed in a fight with station security. That is what goes in my report. That is what I tell the people who hired me to hunt him. But I would still be alive, Vexthul said. You would be someone new. Someone with a different name and a different purpose. The old killer dies and something better is born. Lisa's eyes lit up with excitement. Yes. You could be my research partner. Your knowledge of alien biology would be invaluable, and if anyone tries to hurt the research, you would be there to protect it. Vexthul looked around at all the faces watching him. These humans were offering him something he had never dreamed possible. A second chance. A new life. Why would you do this for me? He asked Jake. The bounty hunter shrugged. Because Dr. Carter is right. I have been hunting killers for 20 years, and I know the difference between someone who chooses evil and someone who was forced into it. You saved her life when you could have taken it. That tells me you are worth saving too. Captain Torres spoke up. What about the people who hired Vexthul to kill Dr. Carter? They will send other assassins. Let them come, Vexthul said, and for the first time his voice carried hope instead of death. I will be waiting for them. 3 days later, the news spread across the galaxy. Vexthul the Harvester was dead, killed while trying to assassinate a scientist on Kepler Station. The bounty hunter Jake Miller was credited with ending the career of the most dangerous killer in known space. But in Dr. Lisa Carter's new laboratory, a tall man with silver eyes was learning how to grow plants instead of ending lives. He had chosen a new name, Victor Stone, and was discovering that creating life was much harder than destroying it. Lisa worked beside him, teaching him about terraforming bacteria and showing him how his enhanced senses could detect things that normal humans missed. Victor was amazed by how patient she was with him. When he made mistakes, she would just smile and show him the right way to do things. The bacteria are responding well to the Xerion plant extract, Lisa said, as she studied their latest experiment. If we can stabilize this reaction, we might be able to restore your homeworld faster than I thought. Victor looked at the tiny organisms swimming in their test tubes. Each one was so small he could barely see it. But together, they could transform entire worlds, just like one act of kindness had transformed him. Lisa, Victor said quietly, why did you trust me? When everyone else saw a monster, why did you see something worth saving? Lisa looked up from her work and smiled at him. Because beauty is not about what you look like on the outside. It is about the choices you make. And you chose to save me instead of kill me. That made you the most beautiful person I had ever met. Victor felt his chest warm with an emotion he was still learning to understand. The Keth Mori had no word for it in their language, but humans called it love. I have something to tell you, he said. I contacted my people. Some of the younger Keth Mori want to change how we live. They are tired of being killers and mercenaries. If your research succeeds, they want to help rebuild our world instead of destroying others. That is wonderful news, Lisa said. We will need help to terraform an entire planet. Your people's strength and knowledge would make it possible. Over the following months, more Keth Mori arrived at Kepler Station. They came quietly, in small groups, leaving behind their old lives as weapons of war. Lisa welcomed each one and taught them about her research. Victor helped translate between species and showed his people that there was another way to live. Jake Miller visited the station regularly, officially to check on Dr. Carter's safety. Unofficially, he enjoyed watching the deadly Keth Mori learning to tend gardens and care for small living things. It was proof that anyone could change if given the chance. The corporations that had wanted Lisa dead tried to send other assassins, but they never made it past the station's new security force. Former Keth Mori warriors turned out to be very effective at protecting the things they cared about. 1 year later, Lisa and Victor stood together in the observation deck, where everything had changed. But now they were not looking at the cold darkness of space. They were looking at a holographic display showing their first success, a dead moon that was now growing green with earth plants and alien bacteria working together. "It is beautiful," Victor said, still amazed that he could see beauty where once he had only seen targets. "Yes," Lisa agreed, but she was not looking at the display. She was looking at him. "It really is." Victor turned to face her, and Lisa saw herself reflected in his silver eyes. They no longer looked like the eyes of a predator. They looked like starlight, distant, beautiful, and full of hope for the future. "Thank you," Victor said softly. "For what?" "For seeing who I could become instead of who I used to be. For teaching me that the most dangerous thing in the galaxy is not a killer." "What is it then?" Lisa asked. Victor smiled, an expression that had taken months to learn. "Hope. Hope is the most dangerous thing, because it can change anyone, even monsters." Lisa laughed and took his hand. Together they watched their terraformed moon spinning slowly against the stars. Soon there would be others, dead worlds brought back to life by the partnership between a human scientist and a reformed killer. The galaxy's most dangerous killer had found something more powerful than death. He had found love, purpose, and the chance to create instead of destroy. And it had all started when someone told him his eyes were beautiful. Years later, when the Keth Mori homeworld was green again and children played safely under clean skies, Victor would tell the story to anyone who would listen. He would speak of a human woman who saw starlight in the eyes of a monster, and how 3 simple words, "Your eyes are beautiful," had saved not just his life, but his soul. The universe was vast and often cruel, but sometimes, if you were very lucky, you might meet someone who could show you that even the darkest heart could learn to love the light.